Hello everyone and welcome back to the Brightworks and the lava-ridden world of Forge, where today we'll be taking a look at a match that was played by some pros. I know, we don't usually get to see the pros play on this map, so I was definitely very excited when this replay made its way across my dash. Now, spawning right up on the front lines, and you know I love to see it, is the blue team leader, the commander, with a little necklace around the neck, a little medallion to certify victory, probably in a tournament, I'm imagining. Goes by the name of Coochie. Gonna be coming in at 46 true skill. My goodness, that's way up there. You can see everybody's name is all red from the new uncertainty, as this was indeed played quite a bit recently. Yeah, very, very recently. I'm not sure exactly when that patch went live, but in case you're wondering why maybe your OS has changed a little bit, it's because they changed the uncertainty value. And all the way across the map right here, we have the red team leader. Goes by the name of Sabotai, with an unfinished solar panel and playing as an Armada commander. Now, Armada versus Cortex is going to be the matchup right here. It's also a red versus blue matchup. You know I always love when that happens because it means we get a big old smackdown between two certified baller commanders right here. Coochie going to be pumping out some of those grunts surely to the front lines right here, but definitely a little bit slower on the draw than those ticks allow you to be. So what are we going to be able to do with these ticks? Well, one thing, this is very high level, something I wouldn't expect out of a normal player, out of an average player, out of myself, but definitely out of pros like this with enough APM to spare, is you can take these ticks, you can move them to the other side of the map, and you can actually attack the crystals. This is a really interesting move. It definitely doesn't buy you a whole lot, but it could be the difference, especially on a map that ends, or a match rather, that ends up being really, really closely contested. It could be the difference. This is also tremendous though. Yeah, okay, sure. Bunch of ticks managed to jump on top of a couple of early res bots right here. We get both of them. Oh, that hurts. That hurts a lot. Yeah, getting those two res bots, that's 200 metal down the drain, but more importantly than anything, it was what Coochie was relying on in the early game for producing a whole bunch of the energy right here. Nice micro, by the way, from these red ticks. You can see them darting around in the backlines right here, trying to find cover behind the solar panels and the crystals and all that. Eventually going to be cleaned up by the friendly ticks sent on over in this direction. But my goodness, that's about as good an early game as you're going to hope for, especially on Forge, where Reclaim is a tremendous part of the game. Eating up those res bots, or rather denying any eating up with those res bots, means that a whole lot less energy production is going to be available right here for the blue team commander. Sabotai marching forward right here to claim a metal extractor and to put that LLT down, try and deny some of that harassment. We do have ticks coming across the map right here from Otherwhere. The lime green commander now trying to look to do a little bit of counterattack damage. Any cheeky shenanigans with transports over here. It doesn't look like it so far. Sometimes what we'll see is a particularly brave soul will transport themselves over to this corner of the island, either of these two corners. Same for the northern side here. And they'll try and build a cheeky little base over there. Now, while it's possible for any of these commanders to do that, it would appear not going to be the case right here for anybody in this particular match. Front lines are being established right here. Sorry about the camera movement, by the way. It's the way that it goes over the volcanoes. There's settings to tweak that, but I found that they oftentimes can cause weird interactions on the field, so this is just the best I can do. Bear with me here until we have the crazy hackers who put together a crazy GUI for spectating. I would be a fan. Maybe I should make like a bounty board, right? Put a couple $100 on the line, put my money where my mouth is. Anyway. Sabotai marching forward, confidently claiming these metal extractors on the enemy side of the map. Marching forward like he's got an army behind him. Unfortunately for the red commander, and very fortunately for the lavender, such is not the case. There we go, metal extractors blasted down. Don't think that one probably repaid itself. I don't know, a 4.0 metal extractor does pay back pretty quick. What is that, 30-ish seconds before that metal extractor pays itself back? Less than that, like 28, something like that? Very, very efficient. A 5.0 metal extractor, I guess, would be 25 seconds, right? No, I don't know. Never do math in a video. Meta's going up against Otherwhere here on the southern side as well. Sabotai, what are you doing? Our boy here in red is doing some very aggressive plays. I guess going for the D-guns, just trying to blast down whatever he can over here. Feels really, really aggressive with the commander, but I guess feeling confident because the HP bar is so high. Taking cover behind the crystals over here, but necessitating a 4-person bush right now. My goodness, the southern side is stacked to the ceiling, full of open skill on the front. We have Stardom as well contributing right here. A really, really good free-for-all player, but don't let him fool you. Free-for-all definitely translates well in a lot of ways to the 8v8 scene. Certainly going to be playing this very, very nicely. I expect killer micro right here. Rocketeers indeed firing away over here. Otherwhere forced offline right now because, of course, those Rocketeers are so good at blasting down those LLTs. Coochie trying to set up some walls over here to deny any movement. Wouldn't be surprised if maybe we see a D-gun or some such blowing those walls apart. Northern side, much more static battle, much more of a lines drawn, everybody line up and fire at each other kind of battle. Ooh, a little bit of an overstep on a res bot right there that's queued forward. Ooh, and I think we're gonna get a second one. Always worth taking a free kill if you can. Looking much more, how do I say this politely? Looking much more common. Looking like the way that I play Beyond All Reason. That's poignant enough, I think. We do have metas stepping up to the plate here. We have metas, Stardom, and Sabotai, the red commanders going up against Kuchi, JTL, Zeitka, and Otherware. A lot of big names in that list of players right there, so it's definitely tons and tons of APM dumped on the field right now. Means that the Rocketeer, Aggravator, all the Rocketbot micro should be top notch right now. You can see, despite hundreds of rockets flying every which way right here, these 3 hero Rocketeers for the Maroon Commander managed to stay alive. It's that weird conundrum with the Rocketeers. The fact that when you have less of them, they're much easier to micro, and so you can actually unintentionally get way more value with fewer of them than the big balls of them, which essentially just present a much larger target overall. Bit of a weird backwards kind of logic, but it does, you know, it's kind of a silver lining when you're down Rocketeers. I think everyone would probably rather have more Rocketeers than less, but it is sort of something that can get you back into the game, having a little bit more micro. Micro oftentimes de-emphasized in this game, not necessarily the cornerstone around which Total Annihilation spin-off type games are essentially built, but I think there should always be room for good micro to make the difference in a battle that's roughly even. Just checking on the geothermal progresses up here. Looks like we have the geothermal set up right now for the red commander, or at least we are getting them set up right now. The orange and tan, no, sorry, just the tan commanders up here. What an interesting strategy. Yeah, we have the orange commander going around upgrading all the geothermals to T2 right here. We're gonna upgrade the mexes as well. Okay, that's interesting. So this is that cheeky support role that we've seen before, where you just invest in your teammates' tech, you just get them started with all the blueprints, and then eventually you make your way around the entire way. It means you don't have to actually pay for everything, but you can help them get teched without actually having to put the metal down. We'll have to see if it'll work here. Resbot's keeping a lot of these Rocketeers healthy. Yeah, you know what? I mean, despite having the numbers advantage, we haven't really pushed all too hard. Well, that was a nice volley right there. 3 or 4 of those Rocketeers falling for metas means suddenly we're in a little bit of a tricky situation. Oh, 5% of that commander, 1%, boom, goes the Maroon Commander on the front. And I think this is just too much stuff. The blue team pushing forward, using every ounce of metal they have right now to go into as much of these Rocketeers as possible, as many of these Rocketeers as possible. We do have T2 on the field, though. Start up to T2, paying for this death of the commander as well, the loss of the front line with a T2 transition. Are the hounds going to be solid enough? Are they going to be able to do enough damage? Well, if we keep walking through the lava, they certainly won't have to. Ticks running forward right here. You know what I wouldn't mind seeing mixed in? This is rare that I would like seeing these mixed in, but I wouldn't mind seeing a Centurion or two. Bulky enough to survive the Rocketeer onslaught, fast enough to outmaneuver those rockets if you're really careful with them. And of course, they allow for an excellent option for dealing with tick spam, which is what we see coming forward right here from Otherwise. Like to see that we've switched from producing Rocketeers to ticks. Definitely killer transition right there. And this is going to be a nice little economic advantage for the blue team for the time being. Reclaiming a lot of these commanders right here, using Resbots and the commander of Otherware, both trying to get as much value extracted from the battlefield as possible, but also importantly claiming these metal extractors right here. Man, Hound's really struggling against these ticks right here. It's times like these that you wish you had thrown in a single welder. You all know I'm a proponent for him. The welder's extremely powerful. Sheldon Ball coming up and running right here on the northern side right now. Looks like Caliburn getting it up and to speed. Rise Heaven in a little bit of trouble now. Yeah, no radar oh, there is a radar jammer actually. Radar jammer is available, so that means that we actually can't see very well over here. We have a spy bot, which is granting us quite a lot of line of sight vision. But as soon as those move out of line of sight, they're covered by that radar jammer and no longer going to be visible. The pawn swell has arisen. Leaping forward right here is Town's pawns, trying to keep enough of them here to be a threat, trying not to overproduce them and then suddenly find yourself behind. It's a tricky balance to strike, and if there's anybody that I think it's going to be able to do it, I think it's going to be some of these top-notch players. There we go. Ticks jumping on top of the Rocketeers here. Have to be careful with these T1 units. Easy to get this much value and think that you should commit to the push, only to be taken down by T2, finding yourself in a really vulnerable position without an army, without a transition lined up, with your enemy on T2 and reclaiming all of your T1 army. Sometimes best bet right here is just to go back and reclaim all these T1 units. Their metal is better spent just going on ahead and being used as reclaim fodder. 2,000 metal worth of T1 Rocketeers right here, not getting value anymore. It's time we see these sent off the field, back to the labs, and refabricated into something a little bit more lethal. Now there's one weakness, there's one prevailing strategy that always occurs on this map just about every time that we see it played. It's something that you're almost essentially necessitated to try, especially as the air player, is to go for, well, only as the air player, is to go for a bombing run. So I'm scanning right now to see who's got the bombers in the air. Right now, it is still T1 for Soup du Jour, the green commander in the air right here for the blue team. We are going back into T1 after taking the lab down to build a fusion reactor right now for the hot pink commander, A Polygon. Looks like we are going to produce some fighters. I'm wondering if maybe we're just going to go for the constructor to go into T2. We're almost there. Yeah, I'd say this economy is probably just about good enough to go into T2 right now. A Polygon just making sure we have enough metal in the bank and making sure to spend it all in the right place here as well. Constructors need to start helping out their T2 buddy, but all is essentially well. Tick spam right here from the Maroon Commander is doing wonders to help these hounds see a little bit further out. Those hounds quite nearsighted, so having a scout unit up in front does definitely help them out quite a lot. We could use this Butler here to repair the ground space over here. Oftentimes easy to forget about doing that. Suddenly you find yourself microing your units accidentally through a lava pool, and you end up in a really tricky situation. Constructor gonna go for a metal extractor on the front line right here. I think as soon as these ticks spy this, the Sheldon should start firing away at it. More or less. Maybe just barely out of range. Oh, this is lethal. Cerberus cannon coming up right here. What a good teamwork, too. Oh, that's the thumbnail for sure. Beautiful, beautiful teamwork right here. A rainbow of fun going directly into building that badass geothermal Cerberus tri-headed, tri-gunned, heavy impact cannon. That thing fires a heavy projectile, dangerous even to T3, so you can get some glimpse of an idea of to what it does to T2 and the weaknesses of T1. Very, very powerful cannon. This far forward on this map, it's going to be lethal. You can see the range of this thing is tremendous as well. It has high range, high damage, produces energy as long as it's not firing. Takes a little bit of energy to fire, but still produces energy nonetheless. And just like that, those T2 hounds are completely pushed back. T2 hounds unable to even manage to chew through all this T1 because by the time that they manage to really get a decent engagement here, Cerberus cannon already up and running. This is a wonderful play right here from the blue team. I don't see how they lose this front short of something terrible happening, some sort of horrible unforeseen event. Maybe something like a nuclear explosion could be an efficient way of dealing with this. Anti-nukes coming up and already online for the tan commander, coming up for the hot pink commander as well, trying to make sure that that doesn't happen. Twitchers running around the map trying to help build wherever they can as well. Those mobile construction bots, quite good, quite useful for being sent around the map as a sort of mobile construction core. Kuchi taking a heavy backline role here. A frontline backliner. Yeah. Using their comfortable geothermals here to go ahead and go for tech. We're going for 2 anti-nukes. Interesting. Maybe suspecting some sort of anti-nuke spam shenanigans? I've never seen it happen. Not on this map anyway. It usually doesn't go the distance that you can end up pumping out more than 1 or 2 nuclear launchers. Those are quite expensive, about the cost of an APHIS. Oh, that's exactly what I was talking about. In this case, it worked in the benefit of the red team right here, but certainly a little bit uncomfortable. Tactical nuke coming up on online right here for the Tan Commander Caliburn up on the northern side. Similarly, tactical nuke coming up right now for Kuchi on the fronts. Wouldn't even mind seeing some more construction turrets. Since we're investing so heavily in static defense over here, I feel like maybe a construction turret wouldn't be the end of the world. We already have 1, but maybe 3, 4, 5 of them wouldn't be the worst thing. We do have anti-air turrets coming up as well. Flak turrets now being built all over the place for the blue commander. Extremely aware of the fact that if these geothermals, these AGOs go up in smoke, it'll mean the end of this game for sure. Both teams being very cognizant of it, but I gotta say, the flak turrets are much more convincing than the anti-air that we've got up and running for Sabotage here. What is the transition we're looking for? Oh, it's a T3 lab that we're blocking with the tick spam here. Hopefully we manage to actually get that lab down. Eventually, if that T3 lab comes out, maybe we could see some catapults being used to tear down this defense. Still, the Cerberus has enough range to go toe-to-toe with those catapults, so I'm not even sure if that would be well enough. Tactical nuclear launcher is up and running, or tactical missile launcher, pardon me. Not quite a nuclear launcher, but pretty close. It's a small nuclear warhead, right? Small nuclear warheads are nuclear warheads, too. Small nuclear warhead representation. That's what I'm all about. Yeah, hounds have been backed off right here. We're sort of taking this as a comfortable opportunity to eco up right now. I think we could be a little more greedy, eat up some of these solar panels, eat up some of the advanced solar panels, even eating up the bot lab here. T1 not really going to have much of an effect for the time being, and once you have that eco up, it's way easier to produce those T1, spam them out to the field. So I think eating up a lot of this and using it to fund those fusion reactors wouldn't be the worst idea for stardom. Trying to still find value with these hounds out here, but as soon as they step forward, that Cerberus continues firing, and it is so withering having your very expensive T2 units blasted to smithereens right here before you manage to get those fusion reactors up and running. Without the energy to sort of recklessly throw metal away, you really are at the will of that Cerberus, whether it's going to be able to do anything. All right, that was the tactical missile launcher firing away. Took out a geothermal over here, popping it quite nicely. T3 lab almost finished and under production here. We're putting the energy converters right next to the AGOs. Typically not a great idea, but on this map, if any of those geos pop, the whole thing goes up in smoke. So it is sort of a mass destruction, a guaranteed mass destruction, no matter how you build it. So fair enough. Fighters moving on the southern side. We are grouping all the fighters on the southern side. I wonder if we're going to go for a killer bombing run or some such. Cerberus cannon over on the northern side here as well. Love these Cerberus cannons. They are locking down these front lines, denying the enemy pushing forward right here. You can see the range on these is tuned just perfectly so that they can't kill this metal extractor right here. Love that for these tan, pink, and brown commanders up here on the northern side, trying to keep it all together. Meanwhile, LRPCs have been up and running. LRPCs have come up to speed right now, and they're going to be firing away into the backline. All it takes is a couple good connections from those LRPCs to bring down these AGOs. We might be saving them. Are these on hold fire? Oh, they are on hold fire. How cheeky. Very nice. Yeah, so we're hold firing the LRPCs until we can build up 3 shots and fire them all at the same time. Have we scouted this? Because we do have shields coming up in the backline right here for Caliburn. We haven't. Wow, what good intuition. Just suspecting that someone's going to go for the LRPC here and starting up a couple of shields. Probably in the best bet to get everybody on board with the shield game here. We've got 2 of them. Ooh, and one of them goes across. Yeah, 3 shots from those LRPCs in order to fire this. I suspect that Kuchi was not able to stop that thing from firing. Yeah, we need a deflector shield immediately. There we go. Starts up the deflector shield, starts building it. It's going to take 3,000 metal in order to put that together. Oh my goodness, 29% left. It takes only a single shield. We're trying to build LRPC cannons. I think this is the wall more than anything. Yeah, we're just trying to shield this geothermal from the onslaught of firepower over there. Oh, very close. We take the AGO right here on this forward side. Oh, deflector shields just barely saving the day right now. Extremely close call. I think that one stray shot might have sold this entire plan right here from Kuchi. Those AGO, or those, LRPCs not able to actually find much value. Then again, the tactical missile launchers are so good, popping these geothermals all over the place, of course wiping out any units and structures standing nearby, but also denying so much metal and so much energy to the red team here. It feels like the blue team is just one step ahead of the red. Every measure, it feels like they've just taken it. They've taken every step forward in this game one second beforehand. We have Vanguards creepy crawling their way across the map. All right, not bad. Vanguards in their high arcing mode. Very difficult to deal with. We have a catapult here. Yeah, there we go. Catapult has been sent out to the fronts. We start firing away. Hand it over to the yellow commander so that I suppose we can micro properly. Look how many metal extractors are down. Yeah, we have so many mexes down right here for the red team. Those LRPCs aren't quite done yet. 4% on that advanced geo right now. We are barely limping through to the end right now. Oh, nice. Meta sending a little bit of metal to try and save his poor teammate. We do manage to get that shield up and online, but my goodness, not before tons and tons of eco has already fallen over here. At this point, though, you have to be careful with those LRPCs. They can be a sunken cost that you really don't want to keep around over here. They do cost 4,600 metal per LRPC. If you stop getting value with them, suddenly it can be a huge investment on the front line that you don't really want. Tactical missile launchers being used as anti-Vanguard technology over here. What was that exploded right there? Was that a commander? No, it's just some sort of explosive building, I suppose. Building shields on the front line here too. All right, sure, why not? Vanguard's more than happy to fire a couple of rounds of projectile fire up into the air. Or tactical missile launching vanguards. Don't think I've ever seen that before. Unfortunately, not going to save the Tan Commander's front line right here as those tacky nukes do go down, those tactical missile launchers. Big old run-by push over on this northern side. Uh-oh. Start on. Not paying attention to the bull in the back line, aiming for that anti-nuke right here. Should be a sign that there's probably a nuclear launcher up and available, so you do have to be pretty careful about that. LRPC's continuing to fire away. Big bombing run coming across the map here. No anti-air defenses. Oh no. With all those geothermal explosions, there was not enough anti-air defenses. Luckily, the air player is on top of it. A polygon sending in the T2 fighters, those Nighthawks, instantly obliterating all those. Nowhere near enough fighters to keep those bombers alive. It was a good attempt, but excellently done, excellently deflected right here by the Hot Pink Commander. Definitely prepared and aware of that extremely dangerous strategy. Leaks across the board right now. Suddenly ticks get into the backline, start blasting apart the advanced metal extractor over here. Feels like Stardom is a little bit slipping. Not a whole lot that's able to be done right now. We need to get the economy up and running. We need more build power. Definitely starting to see some cracks in the armor plating right here of the red team. Spybots have made it through. Uh-oh. Oh, careful now. Sidekin nearly being detected right there by wandering a little too close to some of these buildings. Demon just about almost finished producing right here. LRPC almost killing a friendly unit. Oh, all right. Random tick running out of the lab actually manages to find one of the spy bots there. Oh, it'll find a second one too. Well, that was extremely fortunate right there. That could have been a nightmare, but it ended up working out fabulously for the Red Commander. That tick spam coming online at just the right time. Razorback has been paralyzed right here. It's paralyzed for a long time, so it must have been a killer spy bot connection. And it allows those arbiters to fire away. Yeah, you know what? If those units are in a static position, if they're not moving around, those arbiters have a field day blasting them apart. Meanwhile, a Twitcher of some... How did this happen? Oh, that's how it happened. All right. Twitcher has been transported up onto the volcano here, going to be building a advanced radar tower. Not bad, of course. This gives quite a lot of vision radius once it comes online, so that will be nice right here for the blue team. Giving you a little bit of a look into exactly what's happening over here. Amex does stay alive right here for Stardom. Trying to build an army that can counter the spam. Massive nuclear connection. Oh no! Huge nuke right here directly into the base of Otherwhere. Loses the entire facility and all the eco. Luckily we have some remote wind turbines put elsewhere on the map. Going to be funding all this, but for the time being, that is most of the production. Actually, all of the production right here for the Green Commander. That was a lot of the heavy hitters too. You can see that was where the T2 vehicles were coming out of. That is a massive nuke on the other side of the map. Anti-nukes, more anti-nukes, plural, start up immediately over here. Front lines have dissolved. On the northern side, Tan Commander trying to push a little bit further. Pink Commander supporting as well. We have a Thor out of the field though. Thor's very dangerous. Caliburn even more dangerous-er. Bombers getting ready to head out here. Getting ready to head out. Spybots still sent across the map right now. We do have two of them. Peeping Toms trying to look around and see what they can find. Got ourselves a little bit of a yin-yang situation. Yeah, southern side slowly starting to collapse right here. Northern side starting to collapse for the blue. Bombers coming in to shut down any residual wind turbines over here available to the Green Commander. Big bomber wave coming in. Oh no. Oh no, no response. Green fighters preoccupied elsewhere. We need anti-air and we need it immediately. There we go. Green fighters coming forward. Bombers deploying their payload. Aphis pops, takes out tons of the bombers right there, but manages to shake the core of JTL's production. All of it goes down right here. The pinpointers unpowered at this point. The anti-nuke unpowered. All of it unpowered. And a demon rampaging across the map right here. Oh, Coochie. Coochie. Oh, doesn't get the D-gun off. Oh, no. Demon now spraying its twin flame cannons directly into the face of this Karganeth, being produced by this lab. Geothermal pops, sending those Twitchers back to the metal fields. And just like that, the blue team, wow, votes to resign. Too much damage on the front with the T3 offline. More and more bombers imminent to go around that southern side once more. They realize that they've been beat. What a close match, nearly breaking the line on the southern side, holding this northern side with the T3 until eventually a couple of killer EMPs broke that as well. Love to see the pros going back and forth, and a surprise different ending from the usual geothermal explosion that we usually get. What a cool one to watch. Thanks a ton for making it this far. If you did, always appreciate you dropping a like down below. Helps these videos propagate through the ether webs of the YouTube channels and whatnot, so I always appreciate it. I get a little endorphin rush every time I get a notification about it. And I hope you, yes you, have a splendid rest of your day, and I will see you in the very next game of Beyond All Reason.